Jung's most disturbing discovery about high vibration wasn't that certain people achieve it, it was what happens to them when they do. In 1934, a woman came to Jung after 3 years of intensive spiritual work. She'd done everything right: shadow integration, active imagination, meditation practice. She'd achieved what Jung called psychic coherence, a level of inner integration that made her vibrationally distinct from everyone around her. She came back because she was completely alone, not lonely by circumstance, isolated by frequency. Her body had started rejecting normal social situations with physical symptoms. Reality responded to her thoughts with such precision, it terrified her. People either worshipped her instantly or despised her on sight. She couldn't maintain friendships. Relationships ended within weeks. Her family called her cold. She'd become, as Jung wrote in his private notes, too coherent for collective life. Jung documented this pattern in dozens of patients over the next 2 decades, people who successfully integrated their psyche, who achieved what spiritual circles now call high vibration, didn't ascend to enlightened bliss. They became functionally isolated from normal human existence. Jung wrote, "The individuated person pays a price the collective cannot comprehend. They have achieved internal unity at the cost of external belonging. They vibrate at a frequency that repels as many as it attracts. This is not failure. This is the inevitable consequence of psychological wholeness in a fragmented world." This discovery was too dangerous to publish during his lifetime because it revealed something no one in spiritual communities wants to acknowledge. High vibration doesn't make you more connected. It makes you fundamentally incompatible with most of human society. Today I'm going to show you the 3 undeniable signs Jung identified in people operating at high vibration. Not the pleasant spiritual markers you see in self-help content. The actual psychological and physiological phenomena that mark you as vibrationally distinct. These aren't qualities you can fake or develop through affirmations. They're the concrete, observable effects that appear when you achieve genuine psychic integration, and they come with a cost. Jung spent decades documenting in case after case, because Jung found that high vibration either isolates you completely or transforms you into someone who can hold their frequency without needing others to validate it. The difference comes down to one thing: whether you can bear the loneliness that comes with becoming whole. The woman who came to Jung in 1934 had spent her 20s as what we'd now call a people pleaser. She absorbed everyone's emotions. She had no boundaries. She existed primarily through her relationships with others. 2 failed marriages and a nervous breakdown later, she found Jung. He worked with her for 3 years, deep analysis, dream work, shadow integration. She confronted every dark part of herself she'd been running from: the rage, the selfishness, the capacity for cruelty. She integrated her animus, her internal masculine authority. By the time she completed her work with Jung, she was unrecognizable strong, clear, boundaried. She could feel her own emotions without being destroyed by them. She could see manipulation before it started. She knew exactly what she wanted and didn't want. She believed she was finally ready to live. Instead, her life fell apart in a completely different way. Within 6 months, every friendship she had dissolved, not through conflict, through incompatibility. Her friends would invite her to dinner parties. She'd arrive and within minutes feel physically ill. Not anxiety, actual nausea, migraines. Her body was rejecting the environment. She couldn't make small talk anymore. Every conversation felt like a performance she was no longer willing to give. When people complained about surface-level problems, she felt nothing. When they gossiped, she couldn't participate without feeling corrupted. She'd try to share her actual thoughts, observations about patterns she was seeing, insights from her inner work, and people would look at her like she was speaking another language. Some people became obsessed with her. They'd confess their deepest secrets within minutes of meeting her. They'd call her at midnight with crises. They'd become dependent on her clarity. Others recoiled instantly. She'd walk into a room and certain people would become hostile without ever speaking to her. Their body language screamed rejection. They'd talk around her, exclude her, make subtle comments about how she thought she was better than everyone. Meanwhile, her body kept broadcasting signals she couldn't control. She'd agree to do something she didn't actually want to do, attend an obligation, help someone who was draining her, and her body would shut down fever. Exhaustion so complete she couldn't get out of bed. The moment she'd cancel the obligation, the symptoms vanished. She started noticing synchronicities that defied explanation. She'd think about a specific person, and they'd call within minutes. She'd ask the universe a question, and the next billboard she passed would answer it verbally. She'd worry about a specific outcome, and reality would mirror that exact fear back to her within days. It wasn't magical. It was terrifying, because she realized she couldn't hide anymore. Her thoughts were broadcasting. Her frequency was so coherent that reality was responding to it in real time. Every fear, every desire, every unconscious pattern was manifesting immediately. She came back to Jung devastated. "You told me integration would make me whole. Instead, it's made me impossible. I can't function in normal society. People either want to consume me or destroy me. My body won't let me fake anything anymore. Reality won't stop responding to my inner state. I'm more alone now than I was before I started this work." Jung was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "You're not broken. You're operating at a frequency that the collective cannot tolerate. What you're experiencing are the 3 signs of genuine high vibration, not the spiritual fantasy version, the psychological reality." He explained that most people never achieve true psychic integration. They do some shadow work, set some boundaries, and think they're individuated, but they're still operating within collective frequency. They're still compatible with normal social functioning. The people who actually complete the individuation process, who achieve true internal coherence, cross a threshold. They become vibrationally incompatible with fragmented consciousness. Their body enforces their frequency with physical symptoms. Reality mirrors their inner state with precision. Other people project their unconscious contents onto them immediately. These aren't signs of spiritual advancement. They're the concrete costs of psychological wholeness, Jung wrote in his notes after this session. The individuated person discovers that high vibration is not a blessing. It is a burden and a responsibility they can no longer hide in the collective. They can no longer pretend to be other than what they are. They must learn to hold their frequency in complete isolation, or they will be destroyed by the very coherence they've achieved. This is what Jung never published about high vibration. It doesn't make you more lovable. It makes you more alone. And these 3 signs are how you know you've crossed that threshold. Jung called this the body as guardian of authenticity. When you achieve genuine psychic integration, your body stops being a passive vessel. It becomes an active enforcer of your vibrational truth. This isn't psychosomatic illness, where repressed trauma expresses through the body. This is the opposite. This is a body so integrated with your psyche that it will physically prevent you from betraying your frequency. Jung wrote, "The integrated individual's nervous system becomes exquisitely attuned to incongruence. Any attempt to operate outside their authentic frequency triggers immediate physiological rejection. The body has become the ultimate defense mechanism for the self." Here's what this actually looks like. You're invited to a social gathering you don't actually want to attend. Before integration, you'd go anyway out of obligation. Maybe you'd feel stressed or tired afterward. After integration, your body intervenes with force. The morning of the event, you wake up with a migraine so severe you can't stand, or a wave of nausea that makes it impossible to leave the house, or exhaustion so complete that your body simply won't move. The moment you decide not to go, the moment you honor your true frequency, the symptoms vanish within minutes. This isn't coincidence. This is your body defending your energetic integrity. You're in a job that requires you to suppress your authentic self. Before integration, you'd push through. Maybe you'd be depressed or anxious, but you'd function. After integration, your body makes it impossible. You develop mysterious chronic fatigue, persistent immune issues, physical symptoms doctors can't explain. Your body is systematically shutting down your ability to betray yourself. The integrated person discovers they can no longer tell even small lies without a physical response. A constriction in their throat, a tension in their chest. Their body immediately signals frequency violation. They can't stay in environments where deception is normalized without feeling physically ill. Corporate meetings where everyone performs enthusiasm they don't feel. Family gatherings where everyone pretends dysfunction is normal. Social situations where authentic connection is replaced by performance. Their body ejects them from these situations with physical force. Jung observed, "This is not weakness. This is the body's intelligence finally operating at full capacity." The organism recognizes that frequency betrayal creates systemic dissonance that threatens the entire integrated structure. It protects against this corruption through the only language it knows: pain, exhaustion, illness. You've probably experienced this if you're reading this. That time you quit a job because your body was mysteriously falling apart, only to feel perfect within days of leaving. That relationship you ended because you felt sick every time you were around them, even though they weren't overtly abusive. That social obligation you cancelled because your body simply refused to cooperate. That wasn't your fragility. That was your frequency defending itself. The distinction Jung made is critical. Neurotic symptoms come from internal fragmentation. Somatic frequency enforcement comes from integration. When you're fragmented, your body expresses your inner conflict through illness. When you're integrated, your body prevents you from creating new conflicts through illness. One is a cry for help. The other is a boundary enforcement mechanism. High vibration means your body will no longer tolerate frequency betrayal. It has become the physical guardian of your truth. And this makes normal social functioning extremely difficult, because most of collective life requires constant small betrayals of self-polite lies, performance of emotions you don't feel, suppression of authentic responses, participation in environments that prioritize appearance over truth. The person operating at high vibration can no longer do any of this. Their body won't let them. This is the first sign, and it's why integrated people often appear difficult or high maintenance to others. They're not being demanding. Their biology is enforcing their frequency. Jung called this the collapse of the psychoid barrier. When you achieve genuine integration, something shifts in how you interact with reality itself. The boundary between your inner psychological state and external material reality becomes permeable. Synchronicity stops being an occasional curiosity. It becomes constant, precise, and undeniable. Jung wrote, "For the individuated person, the acausal connecting principle becomes not merely observable but overwhelming. Every psychic movement creates an external echo. They discover they are living in a reality that responds to their inner state with such accuracy that the distinction between subject and object begins to dissolve. This is deeply unsettling. Before integration, you might notice an occasional meaningful coincidence. You think of someone they call. You need specific information, it appears. After integration, this becomes your permanent reality. You have a thought about a specific problem. Within hours, you encounter the exact solution through a random conversation, a book that falls off a shelf, a stranger who approaches you. You hold a question in your mind. The next license plate you see, the next overheard conversation, the next article you read, all contain direct answers. You feel a specific emotion deeply. Within days, external circumstances mirror that emotion back to you in concrete form. This isn't manifestation in the New Age sense. This is Jung's synchronicity operating at high density. The integrated person discovers that reality is not separate from consciousness. They're participating in a unified field where internal and external are continuously exchanging information. Jung documented this in case after case. Patients who achieved integration would report synchronicities so specific, so frequent, that they bordered on the uncanny. One patient would think about a childhood memory involving a specific type of bird. Within an hour, that exact species, rare in her region, would appear outside her window. Another would be wrestling with a decision about ending a relationship. He'd walk past a storefront with a marquee that read, "Sometimes leaving is the only way forward, not occasionally daily, multiple times per day," Jung observed. The individuated consciousness becomes a co-creator of reality, not through force of will, but through depth of integration. When internal coherence reaches a critical threshold, the psychoid layer, the place where psyche and matter are still one, becomes accessible causality, and acausality begin operating simultaneously. This is the second sign of high vibration, and it's profoundly uncomfortable, because it means you can no longer be passive. You can no longer claim you're just an observer of life happening to you. Every thought you think appears to influence what happens. Every emotion you feel seems to attract corresponding external events. Every unconscious pattern you carry manifests in your circumstances. You become hyper-aware that you're participating in creating your reality, not metaphorically, literally. And this is terrifying because it means you're responsible. You can't blame circumstances anymore. You can't play victim. You can't pretend you have no influence. The universe is responding to your frequency in real time, and you can't turn it off. Jung wrote, "This is why many who achieve integration experience a profound sense of burden. They can no longer hide from their creative participation in reality. They must accept that they are generating their experience through the coherence of their inner state. The high vibration person lives in constant synchronicity, and it's not magical or blissful. It's the weight of recognizing you're shaping reality with every thought, every emotion, every unconscious shadow pattern you haven't integrated yet. This is the second sign, and it makes casual unconsciousness impossible." Jung called this the triggered unconscious. When you operate at high vibration, when you've achieved genuine psychological integration, you become a walking projection screen for everyone else's unconscious content. Complete strangers will have immediate, extreme reactions to your presence before you speak, before you do anything. Some will be inexplicably drawn to you. They'll confess their deepest secrets within minutes. They'll seek your counsel. They'll want to be near you constantly. Others will be inexplicably hostile. They'll exclude you, criticize you, reject you, all without knowing you. Neither response is about you. Both are about them. Jung wrote, "The integrated person's presence functions as an unconscious trigger. They embody a level of coherence that activates whatever is incoherent in others. They become a mirror that reflects what people cannot yet see in themselves." Here's what this actually means. When someone with fragmented self encounters someone with integrated self, their unconscious recognizes what's missing, and it reacts. If they're ready to grow, they're attracted. Your presence reminds them of their own potential. They see in you what they want to become. This is the positive projection. If they're not ready, they're repelled. Your presence reminds them of what they're avoiding. They see in you a judgment of their own inauthenticity, even though you're not judging them at all. This is the negative projection. Jung observed this repeatedly. Patients who achieved integration would report the same pattern. I walk into a room, and half the people gravitate toward me like I'm magnetic. The other half look at me with instant disdain. I haven't said anything. I haven't done anything. My presence alone creates this polarization. One woman told Jung, "People tell me I make them feel seen, but I'm not doing anything except existing as myself. I think they're seeing themselves reflected in my clarity, and depending on whether they like what they see, they either love me or hate me." This is the third sign, spontaneous polarization. You can no longer be neutral in social spaces. Your integrated frequency activates unconscious content in everyone around you. The people who are drawn to you will often become dependent. They'll want you to solve their problems. They'll treat you like a guru or therapist. They'll project their need for a savior onto you. The people who are repelled by you will often become hostile. They'll call you pretentious, fake, trying too hard. They'll criticize you for things you're not even doing. They're attacking the reflection you're showing them of their own unlived life. Jung wrote, "The individuated person can no longer hide in the collective. Their frequency is too distinct. They will be worshipped or condemned, rarely understood. This is the loneliness of integration, being surrounded by projections while rarely being seen for who you actually are." This third sign is why high vibration often leads to isolation, because most people aren't interacting with you. They're interacting with their projection of you. The ones who idealize you don't see your humanity. The ones who demonize you don't see your actual character. You become a symbol rather than a person. And maintaining authentic relationships becomes nearly impossible when everyone is projecting their unconscious content onto your frequency. These are the 3 signs Jung documented: somatic enforcement, reality mirroring, and projection activation. Not aspirational, not comfortable. The actual phenomena that mark you as operating at high vibration, and all 3 create the same outcome: profound isolation. Jung never romanticized individuation. He called it the loneliest path, because when you achieve genuine integration, when you start operating at high vibration, you become functionally incompatible with collective consciousness. Your body won't let you fake social compliance anymore. It enforces your authenticity with physical symptoms. This means you can't participate in 80% of social situations that require performance of emotions you don't feel. Reality responds to your inner state with precision. You can't be unconscious anymore. You can't hide in victim consciousness. You're forced to accept responsibility for co-creating your experience. This eliminates the bonding that comes from shared complaining, shared helplessness, shared blame of external circumstances. People project their unconscious content onto you immediately. You're either idealized or demonized, rarely met as an equal. This prevents authentic relationship because people aren't relating to you. They're relating to their projection. Jung documented in case after case, the integrated person ends up alone. Not because they're unlovable, because they're operating at a frequency most people can't sustain. One patient told Jung, "I used to think integration would make me more connected. Instead, I've never been more isolated. I can't pretend anymore. My body won't let me. I can't participate in unconscious socializing. Reality won't let me hide from my responsibility. I can't maintain relationships where people are projecting rather than seeing. And I have no idea how to connect with others while maintaining my frequency." Jung's response was brutally honest. You don't. Not with most people. The individuated life is a solitary one. You will find perhaps 1 or 2 others operating at similar frequency over your lifetime. The rest will be unable to meet you where you are. This is the cost of high vibration that spiritual content never discusses. You don't ascend to a community of enlightened beings. You descend into profound isolation. Your old friends can't relate to you anymore. Your family thinks you've changed for the worse. Dating becomes nearly impossible because most people either worship or reject you. Neither sees you. You walk through the world triggering unconscious content everywhere you go. You can't turn it off. You can't modulate your frequency to make others comfortable without making yourself physically ill. Jung called this the sacrifice of collective belonging for the sake of individual wholeness. You trade fitting in for being whole, and most days it feels like a terrible trade because humans are social creatures. We're wired for belonging, and high vibration eliminates most opportunities for it. The woman from 1934 came back to Jung after 2 more years of struggling with her integration. She said, "I understand now what you meant. I can't go back. My frequency won't let me, but I also can't find my people forward. I exist in this strange liminal space where I'm too integrated for normal society, but not enlightened enough to not need connection. I'm just alone." Jung told her something he'd say to many patients over the years. The individuated person must learn to be their own society. You must become so rooted in your internal coherence that you no longer require external validation of your frequency. This is the final initiation, not ascending to connection, but descending into self-sufficiency. This is why high vibration is not the goal most spiritual seekers think it is. It's not a ticket to better relationships, abundant manifestation, and community with other evolved souls. It's a one-way journey into isolation that requires you to find wholeness within yourself, because you'll rarely find it with others. Jung was clear. Most people who glimpse this reality turn back. They'd rather remain fragmented and connected than integrated and alone. Only those who cannot bear inner division anymore continue forward. Not because individuation is so wonderful, but because internal fragmentation becomes more painful than external isolation. The question Jung always asked, are you willing to be alone to be whole? Because that's the choice high vibration presents, not once but daily, for the rest of your life. Jung developed a specific protocol for patients who'd achieved high vibration and were struggling with the isolation it created. He called it psychological sovereignty, the capacity to hold your frequency without requiring others to validate or even understand it. Most people who achieve integration fail here. They can't bear the loneliness. They either regress to lower frequency to regain social connection, or they become bitter and superior about their isolation. Jung identified a third path, but it requires something most people aren't willing to do. Jung's first requirement was brutal honesty about what you've become. You are now operating at a frequency most humans cannot sustain. This is not temporary. This is not something you'll fix by finding the right community or the right partner. This is your permanent reality. Your body will continue enforcing your frequency. Reality will continue mirroring your inner state. People will continue projecting onto you. The isolation is not a problem to solve. It's the natural consequence of psychological integration in a fragmented world. Jung made patients journal this admission daily. I am alone because I am whole. This loneliness is not evidence of failure, it is evidence of coherence. Most couldn't do it. They wanted to believe integration would eventually lead to better connection. Jung refused to let them maintain that fantasy. You must grieve the collective belonging you'll never have again. Only after that grief can you discover what exists beyond it. Jung's second requirement: develop such profound internal relationship that external validation becomes optional, not necessary. This isn't about pretending you don't need connection. Humans need connection, but it's about shifting from I need others to feel whole to I am whole, and connection is a bonus when it appears. Jung taught patients to develop what he called the internal dialogue, active ongoing conversation between their conscious ego and their unconscious self. Through dreams, through active imagination, through careful attention to synchronicities and somatic signals. The goal was to be so engaged with your own psyche that you're never actually alone. Your unconscious becomes your constant companion. Jung wrote, "The individuated person discovers they contain multitudes. Their internal world is so rich, so complex, so engaging that external entertainment becomes unnecessary. They are in constant conversation with themselves, and this is not loneliness, this is sovereignty." The practice was daily engagement with your inner world, not as a replacement for human connection, but as the foundation that makes its absence bearable. Jung's third requirement: stop trying to correct people's projections of you. Let them idealize you. Let them demonize you. Don't explain yourself. Don't defend your character. Don't try to show them who you really are, because they can't see you anyway. They're seeing their own unconscious content reflected. Jung taught, the individuated person must become like a mirror, clean, clear, reflective, but not responsible for what is reflected. You show people themselves. You are not what they see. This means accepting that most people will misunderstand you, always, and this is not your problem to fix. Your only responsibility is to maintain your frequency. What others do with that is their work. Jung noted, this is where most fail. They cannot bear being misunderstood. They need to be seen accurately. But high vibration means you must release that need. You must be willing to be misjudged, misinterpreted, projected upon, and remain unmoved in your truth. Jung's final teaching: you won't find many people who can meet you at your frequency, maybe one or two in a lifetime, but when you find them, you'll know immediately. No projection, no performance, just recognition. Jung called these soul encounters, rare moments when two individuated people meet and can actually see each other. These connections are brief, but they're real. And they prove that your frequency isn't wrong. It's just rare. The protocol wasn't about making isolation comfortable. It was about making it bearable, learning to be so rooted in your internal coherence that external validation becomes optional, so clear about what you've become that you stop trying to go back, so accepting of projections that you stop defending yourself, so patient that you can wait for the rare soul encounters that prove you're not alone in your frequency. Jung told the woman from 1934 in their final session, "You will be lonely, but you will be whole. And eventually, you will discover that wholeness is worth the loneliness, not because loneliness stops hurting, but because internal fragmentation hurts more." She wrote him a letter 10 years later. She said, "You were right, I'm still alone most of the time, but I'm no longer lonely. I've learned to be my own society. And the rare moments when I meet someone who can see me, truly see me, those moments are worth all the years of isolation." This is what Jung never published about high vibration. It doesn't lead to enlightened community. It leads to sovereign solitude. And most people will choose fragmented connection over integrated isolation every single time. Here's what you need to understand if these three signs are appearing in your life. You're crossing a threshold that most people turn back from, not because they're weak, but because the cost of high vibration is higher than most spiritual content admits. Your body is starting to enforce your frequency. This will eliminate most social and professional options. You will lose jobs, relationships, opportunities, not because you're doing anything wrong, but because your biology won't let you betray yourself anymore. Reality is starting to mirror your inner state. This will eliminate victim consciousness. You can no longer blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck. You're forced to accept that you're co-creating your experience through your frequency. This is terrifying responsibility that most people run from. People are starting to project onto you immediately. This will eliminate most possibilities for authentic connection. You'll be idealized or demonized, rarely seen, and you'll have to learn to hold your frequency while being constantly misunderstood. This is not a spiritual upgrade. This is a fundamental incompatibility with collective consciousness that will isolate you profoundly. Jung's question was always, are you willing to be alone to be whole? Not as a temporary sacrifice, as a permanent state, because that's what high vibration actually means. Not ascending to enlightened community, but descending into sovereign solitude. Most people who see this turn back. They decide internal fragmentation is more bearable than external isolation. They lower their frequency to regain social connection. Jung never judged this. He understood that individuation isn't for everyone. It's only for those who find internal division more painful than external loneliness. If these three signs are appearing and you're struggling with the isolation they're creating, you have a choice. You can try to lower your frequency, suppress your authenticity enough to regain social functioning. Your body will fight you, but it's possible. Or you can continue forward into complete integration, accept the isolation as permanent, and learn to be your own society. There's no right answer, only the answer that's right for you. But understand, you can't have both. You can't maintain high vibration and collective belonging. Your frequency is now too distinct. You must choose between being whole and being connected. Jung spent his entire career documenting what happens to people who achieve genuine psychological integration. And the pattern was always the same. They end up alone, not because they failed, because they succeeded. This is the cost of high vibration. No one wants to tell you. Jung wrote about the patient from 1934 one final time, 15 years after their work together. She has achieved what few do, genuine psychological sovereignty. She operates at a frequency that isolates her from most human interaction. Yet she has learned to hold this frequency without requiring external validation. She is alone, but she is whole, and she would not trade her wholeness for collective belonging, though the loneliness remains a constant companion. This is what high vibration actually looks like, not abundant manifestation, soul tribe, an enlightened partnership, somatic enforcement of authenticity that limits your social options, reality mirroring that eliminates victim consciousness, projection from others that prevents most authentic connection, and profound isolation as the cost of internal coherence. These three signs aren't goals to pursue. They're the natural consequences of refusing to remain internally fragmented. When you stop running from your shadow, when you integrate your opposites, when you achieve genuine psychic coherence, your frequency changes, and that frequency is incompatible with most of human society. Your body becomes the guardian of your truth. It will physically prevent you from betraying your frequency. Reality becomes a mirror of your inner state. It will reflect back your every psychic movement with precision. Other people become projection screens. They will worship or condemn you, rarely see you, and you will be alone in a way that most people never experience. Jung called this the price of individuation, wholeness purchased with isolation. The question isn't whether these signs are good or bad. The question is, are you willing to be alone to be whole? Because if these three phenomena are appearing in your life, you're approaching a threshold. Forward means accepting permanent isolation as the cost of internal coherence. Back means returning to fragmentation to regain connection. Most people go back, not because they're failing, but because humans need belonging, and high vibration eliminates most opportunities for it. Jung never promised individuation would make you happy. He promised it would make you whole. And he was brutally honest about what wholeness costs, the collective belonging you'll never have again. If you recognize these three signs in your life, if your body is enforcing your frequency, reality is mirroring your inner state, and people are projecting onto you constantly, know this: you are not broken. You are whole, and wholeness isolates. The only question is whether you can bear the loneliness that comes with being integrated in a fragmented world. Jung believed most cannot. Only those for whom internal division has become more painful than external isolation continue forward. And for those rare individuals, he offered not comfort, but clarity. You will be alone, but you will be sovereign. Comment below which of these three signs is most present in your life right now. Sign 1. Your body physically rejects inauthenticity. Sign 2. Reality mirrors your inner state constantly. Sign 3. People project onto you immediately. Your recognition of these patterns connects you with the few others walking this path. You're not alone in your aloneness. If this revealed something about your experience you've never been able to name, hit that like button. You've just discovered why your frequency isolates you. Subscribe for more of Jung's discoveries about individuation that spiritual content won't tell you, the costs, the isolation, the price of becoming whole. The three signs of high vibration don't make you special, they make you sovereign. And sovereignty is the loneliest path Jung ever documented. But for those who cannot tolerate internal fragmentation, it's the only path forward.